Greetings in the name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. This is the Oklahoma Tomcat coming to you from Abilene, Kansas. I'm here at the Alco Distribution Center waiting on my load to be available, and I'll be taking it to Dodge City, Kansas. Got delivered tomorrow morning. What I want to do today is to talk to you a little bit about the last two blogs that I've done and about the Constitution and how the whole makeup in general is done, how the limitation of the federal government actually gives us more freedom. As I've talked to you about in the first blog on the Constitution, limitation of the federal government was given limited powers by our founding fathers. Through this limited power, we are given lots of freedom while still giving the federal government enough power to protect us and to unite the states. Remember that the states was given we were having trouble under the old government because government wasn't given enough powers. Each state had different laws and were not united. So the federal government was given more power through the Constitution, and this allowed us to unite as a country. The United States was actually falling apart. Now, the people were afraid to give the federal government more power, because they were afraid that we would turn up to be just like England. So the founding fathers came out with a constitution that would outline the only powers that would be given, the federal government would be given, and the states agreed to it. Of course, some people were still not on board with this. They were afraid that the Constitution didn't guarantee enough rights. So, because of this, the founding fathers added 10 amendments to the Constitution. These were the very first amendments added to the Constitution, and also became known as the Bill of Rights, because the first 10 amendments were rights to the people. Now, the 10th Amendment, of course, no longer the last. The 10th Amendment is the amendment that clearly says that anything not given, that if the power is not given to the federal government in this Constitution, or it is not a guaranteed right to the people, prohibited, then whatever it is, that power is given to either the state or the people. This here is what gives the states quite a bit of power. Okay? So in other words, if it's not a right given to the people in the Constitution, in other words, not a right that's listed in the amendments, then the states have control, the power to decide on whether they want to make a law on it or not. If the power or the topic is not a power given to the federal government, then that means the federal government can't make a law. So, let's discuss a big topic. I've talked about abortion, for instance. Now, some people, I know that the Supreme Court made a ruling on it, saying that it's the privacy of the female. Well, in that case, if you want to take privacy into it, then everything is a privacy issue. The truth is that if you go to a doctor on anything, it's not so much a privacy, is it? I mean, granted, government can't come in and take your medical records. That's not the issue. But can the government make laws on what a doctor can do and can't do? I mean, let's say you go to a doctor and you have a disease, you want to end your life right there and then. Can a doctor end your life? It's a privacy issue. You made a decision, right? Can a federal government say whether that can be done or not? Can states make a law on that? Well, of course, you know suicide is up to the states, isn't it? I mean, the states do have the power to make laws in regards to assisted suicide, right? Now, why not abortion? I mean, if the state government can decide on whether assisted suicide is legal or not, is it any more of a right or a privacy issue when it comes to abortion? To tell you the truth, me personally, I think abortion's a lot worse. I mean, if someone wants to end their life, I mean, me personally, I'm against suicide for any reason. But you know, that's an issue that's between the person and God, right? But when I look at the Constitution, I do see that suicide in man's law, it's up to the state. And the federal government doesn't have any say in it. And the same thing with abortion. Me personally, I'm against abortion with the exception of certain circumstances, such as mother's life in jeopardy, but a good doctor will detect that problem real early. Unless something comes up. I mean, anything can happen. But when I look at the Constitution, it is indeed up to the states on whether abortion should be legal or illegal. And let me show you how that's done. Okay? Now, privacy issue, sorry, that don't fly. Because state governments can make laws that prevent a doctor from doing certain things, even if the patient tells the doctor they want it done. Okay? It's not a law that puts the patient in trouble. It's a law that puts the doctor in trouble if he gets caught doing it. Okay? For instance, late-term abortion. Isn't that a privacy issue? Or is the truth that the state and even Democrats do say, hey, yeah, there's a limit to how late the abortion can be done. And yet that don't violate privacy. So, no, privacy doesn't go, okay? Otherwise you have to eliminate any laws that state can do where it could be interpreted as a privacy issue. All right. So, let's take a look at abortion, okay? The legislative branch, do they have the power to determine on abortion, to determine whether abortion should be legal or illegal, or what term, how late an abortion can be done? Do they have any power? Okay. Let's take a look down the list. Now, as I've said in the first blog, you should have a copy of the Constitution. All right. Either you can get one from many sites where they give them out for free. I know in our in Okfuskee County, the Republican Party was distributing them for free during the last election. I'm sure the Democrats give them out for free too. But if you go down through the legislative branch, and you'll see the House's responsibilities, what powers they were given. And you will see in a long list, I mean, they do have quite a bit of power, but nothing on abortion. How about the Senate? You go through their list. They got quite a bit of power too. But no, nothing on abortion. Let's go on down. And by the way, you can also download the Constitution, which is what I've done, which does make it a whole lot easier to, for me anyway, to scroll through and look up certain things in the Constitution to see if who has the power to do it whenever I hear news on what's being done. Which, by the way, Obama's been doing a lot of executive powers, and you can see also where that comes into play. For instance, powers of Congress. They can collect taxes. They pay debts. They do fund the military. They have the power to borrow money, to regulate commerce with foreign nations. Several states, and with the Indian tribes. They have the power to establish a uniform rule of naturalization, uniform laws on the subject of bankruptcies throughout the United States. They have the power to coin money, regulate, and the value of the money, and of foreign coins, how much foreign money is worth to us. They also have the power to punish counterfeiting, to establish a post office and post roads, to promote the progress of science and useful arts, to they also have the power over tribunals, the Supreme Court. There's a long list here, but not seeing nothing on abortion. How about the executive branch? Surely he must have. Now I say he because the executive branch is the presidency, and his list isn't quite as long, but nothing on abortion. Judicial branch. And what's their power? Interpret law. Don't say nothing about being able to make a law in regards to abortion. In the states, which I discussed in the last one, their list isn't very long, but theirs is not a list of limiting their power. So, how about is abortion a right? Let's see, I went through the amendments on the last one. I actually listed them in my last blog. And if you listen to that blog, you'll know that I did not say nothing about abortion, did I? So, being it's not a power given to the federal government or a right given to us, the people, that must mean it falls under the 10th Amendment. Which means either the states can say it's a right for us, whatever state you live in, they can put it in their constitution to make it a right, or they're able to make a law on it. You can do this with any topic that comes up. Marriage. Is marriage a power given to the federal government? No, it isn't. Is it a right given to us? Nope. And you can't say marriage wasn't an issue back then, because actually people did get married back when the Constitution was drawn up. So the Founding Fathers must have purposely left marriage out. Now, me personally, I don't think marriage is something that's given to government to regulate or make rules of anyway. Marriage is given to us by God, not to government to rule over us. I don't think marriage should be anything that we profit from for doing, i.e. tax breaks. I mean, the marriage credit is kind of funny. Nor should Social Security be automatically given to the spouse. I mean, I know my life insurance, I put down who gets my life insurance, which, by the way, is my wife. But it's our money, right? So why don't we get to choose who that Social Security goes to? And marriage should not be, I mean, actually everything we do, we fill out forms saying who's the beneficiary, right? Why can't Social Security do the same thing? And why should we get credit for being married? Extra tax break for being married. So I don't think it's I think it would also be wiped clean, and then only people getting married would be people who actually believe in marriage, and people would be getting married for the right reason. But that's a whole different topic anyway. The whole thing is, no matter what I believe in marriage, and no matter what you believe in marriage, no matter what the government believes in marriage, I believe the fact is states do have the power to regulate marriage. All right. And the federal government has no say whatsoever because it's not a power given to them. What's another one? I mean, any topic you hear in the news, anytime you hear a debate given by elected officials, you can go to the Constitution and ask, what does it matter what they say? Who cares what Obama or Romney think about gay marriage? Who cares what they say about a lot of stuff, actually. They should be only concentrating on the powers given to them as the executive branch. That's it. My question is, what are they going to do about about our embassies being burned? About people rioting and killing Americans overseas? Our embassies getting invaded that's an attack on America. That's American soil. Our ships being attacked, as what happened with the USS Cole. These are topics that they should be discussing. A lot of these other topics, they're just distractions. Social issues. The executive branch has very little to do on social issues. Actually, Congress has more on to do with social issues. Taxes is done by Congress. Okay. Now, I mean, granted, the president can ask Congress to cut taxes, but it's really up to Congress. The legislative branch, on whether taxes get cut. Now, granted, 9 times out of 10, when the president wants taxes cut, Congress does it. It's very important for us to understand the Constitution and to hold our elected officials to the Constitution. If you think about it, if our elected officials go against the Constitution, do as they will, then where do we stop them? What guideline do we use to determine on whether they're getting too powerful? The law is there for a reason, and once we break that law, then who have we become? We're definitely not a republic anymore. If we become a nation of lawbreakers, then we no longer have freedom. It's that simple. The law is there to keep us free. Even our founding fathers have said, we have to have laws to remain free. And if we aren't going to have our elected officials obey the law as far as the Constitution, then what guideline are we going to use to keep them in check? We have gone so far from the Constitution, and I do think that the next 4 years this year here actually is going to determine on whether we have lost it completely, if we have lost our republic completely, or if we are going to try to turn back. It's going to be hard to really go back to the Constitution. We've gone so far away from it that I personally don't see us ever going back to the way America was founded. I don't see any way at all. But we can slow it down. And but it's going to take us, the people, being educated. And from what I've seen and talking to other people, asking certain questions, looking at the media, we have become very ignorant of the Constitution. I mean, even the Second Amendment. I mean, the right bear arms. You know, why was that even put in there, into the Constitution? Is it so that we can hunt? Keep out burglars? Was that what the Founding Fathers was afraid of? That burglars will destroy America? No. What is the militia? You know, I mean, were they talking about government protecting the people from government? Does that even make sense? Separation of church and state. I remember one of the people running for office in a different state went to a college, and she said, "Where is separation of church and state? Where is it?" And they laughed. Truth is, read the Constitution. Is there anywhere in the Constitution that says separation of church and state? And the answer is no. It's nowheres. All right. Now, the one thing people think it's located is in the Bill of Rights, our First Amendment. And I'm scrolling down to it right now. First Amendment. First Amendment. Freedom of religion. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. What that means is Congress cannot establish the Catholic Church, for instance, as the country's religion. Okay? They can't make up their own laws on religion. This means that all religions are equal. And it doesn't mean that we're free from religion. And it doesn't mean that just because you're an elected official, that you can't express your religious belief. Now, our elected officials and the federal government cannot make laws based on religion. Nope, it's not in the First Amendment. But because of the limited power they were given, it prevents them from doing it. For instance, what I talked about with abortion. Government cannot make a law outlawing abortion. They cannot make a law promoting abortion. They're not even supposed to fund abortion. Because it's not in Articles 1, 2, or 3. You see where I'm headed with this? Because of the limited power the federal government is given, they can't even make laws based on religion. So, when the president's running for office, does it really matter what his religious belief is? That's another silly thing I see happening in media, where they criticize a person running for office because of his religious belief. What does it matter? He can't make laws based on religion. because he doesn't have any powers given to him by the Constitution based on religion. He can't make laws on marriage. He can't outlaw marriage. He can't make laws based on contraceptives, nor can he force people to buy them. He can't outlaw them. He can't make people buy them. He can't make companies buy them. That's all religious belief. So, if we hold our elected officials to the Constitution, at least the federal one, the federal government, then their personal belief does not matter if they're following the laws. Now, your states do have more powers. And yes, they can make laws based on a religious belief. But that's where you need to be active in your local elections. You do have more power over your locally elected leaders. In fact, you have more power over them than you have over the federal government. So get involved with your local leaders. Do you want a socialist country? A socialist state? You have the power to make it happen, or at least get it going. If enough people in your state want it, then it can be done. What Romney did as governor is legal under the Constitution in a state. But is national health care something that the federal government has power over? No, it's not in there. And I don't buy this whole thing, it's a tax thing either. That was stupid. They have no control in the federal government over our health, and that we have to buy health care. They have no control over that. But a state government could do it. Doesn't mean I'd agree with it. I'd be against Oklahoma doing it. I encourage that everyone get educated on the Constitution. Of course, our freedom comes from God, but of course, God will also allow us to hand that freedom over to the government if we wish it be done. We've seen it done in history, where a nation of people decide to hand power over to a human government. And I don't know where people ever get that much faith in government. After all, government is man. And I don't know about you, but I don't trust man that much. I don't have that much faith in a human being. No matter what he is, whether he owns a company, a corporation, or he's in government. To tell you the truth, I have less faith in our elected leaders than I do in a company. At least company, I can decide whether I want to do business with them or not. Unfortunately, the federal government, or any government, has both power and money. They have the power to force you to do stuff, and they have the money to back them. If they don't like you, they can starve you to death. Take a look at history and what happens when we give complete control to government. Absolute power does corrupt. And that's a belief that our founding fathers had, and why our founding fathers limited the power of the federal government. This is Joseph Jones. Take care and God bless. Oh, and if you are interested in learning more about the Constitution, Hillsdale College has a free course that you can take. And you can go to their website, which is on the screen, and sign up for it. It's absolutely free, and best of all, it's not funded by government. Take care and God bless.